The next 4 issues of the Dalek have arrived. It's time to get started. Hello everyone. So as you can see, where I'm working has changed. It was great working up on the dining room table, being able to spread out, but it's time to actually be down here in my model building room, so I have access to my paints, and also the model will be safe from the cats potentially jumping up, getting at it, chewing on wiring, and such things like that. So from here on out, unless I need to have a larger space for something, I'm going to continue to do the rest of the Dalek build down here in the model room. So before getting into the new materials, I do want to talk about what we've done so far. Um, this part of the structure has some things that are not quite correct with it as compared to the actual set piece, the actual prop. And some of this is going to need to be corrected. Also, everything is just black on black. There needs to be some other color added to it. Yes, there are a lot of dark colors, but those changes of color do help to make everything stand out and look really nice. I also want to address the display control panel for the Dalek Mutant. One of the things that I had said in a previous video is that I would like to get this lit up. So looking at the structure of what I have here, one of the things I'm going to need to do is to drill a hole, an additional hole right here, in order to allow wiring to go through. I'll need to add a hole directly into this piece right between the two lugs that are here, in order to allow the wiring to come in, and put a piece of LED tape onto here to be able to have the illumination that's needed. Then for the actual panel here, the piece here needs to have most of this plastic cut out, and you can see I've penciled in where I want to get that cut to remove that material. However, that then will cut away the lugs that are on the back to go into the mounting holes. So I'm going to need to also figure out a way to put this into the correct location and then be able to put the two pieces together correctly so that it's glued together or some other way put together correctly before the actual screen goes onto it as well. I've also been looking very carefully at the screen. This is a sticker back, and we can peel back the paper to show the stickiness. And you can also see right on the corner here, if it will focus properly here, that the sticky can also be very carefully removed. And that's going to then allow me to glue it directly onto the piece here. So that's something that I'm going to continue to work on as we move on through this build. I do also want to, as I said, make some modifications. If you don't know, there is actually a Facebook group for this build, and one of the posts that I had put out was asking about photos of the actual prop from the BBC that would show the interior in more natural light as opposed to the set light and the spotlight that was used for the sunlight coming in that the Dalek Mutant was enjoying, to see what this actually looks like in some more detail. Best I can see from the pictures that people have been able to share, this seat doesn't seem to exist, or it doesn't seem to exist in this kind of form. So this is probably going to get taken out and or modified to more closely represent what the thing would actually look like. On the front here, there is some reconstruction that could be done. This is not necessarily correct in its dimensions. its overall shape is pretty decent, but in its overall dimensions, there is some modification that's going to need to be done to it. These two side posts also seem a little on the long side. They may need to get shortened ever so slightly. More on that a little later, because I also don't know how the closing mechanism for encasing the Dalek Mutant is going to exactly work. So before I go doing a lot of modifications, I need to know how that is all going to fit, because Hachette, rather, excuse me, not Eagle Moss, may have done some compression or some modifications to what the real thing would look like in order to allow the doors to close. I don't know until I can see those parts, see those instructions, in order to be able to figure that out. So it's going to be a little while before I do any kind of reconstruction, modification to these areas. The floor also seems to have a ribbed texture to it. Looking at the photos closely, you can actually see a lot of straight little lines going through on here. So I haven't quite decided how I want to go about adding those in, if I want to attempt to somehow carve them in, or if I want to use some very thin styrene material to be able to lay out those ribs onto here. That's something, again, I'm going to have to think about and decide how I want to go about dealing with that. So that's where we're at with the main base at this point. So from here, let's get on into these next 4 issues. So, as you can see with the title, the next issue here is going to be the Dalek Mutant itself, and here it is. So there have been a lot of comments about the Dalek Mutant. Some people have really liked it, some people really have not liked it. A lot of us do think that it definitely needs some paint work done to it other than what has been done. It is a rather soft, squishy material. The tentacles that are on here are very, very floppy, very wiggly. There have been some mentions of trying to somehow animate it so that it would actually be able to be movable. There are a couple of ideas floating out there to see how that might work. Looking at some of the pictures, these little tubes that are here look like they should actually be clear tubes that go into the mutant that then also connect into the mechanism as well. So these might end up getting removed and have some clear tubing replacing that. I haven't decided how I'm going to deal with that. And of course, there also just needs to be some general slime on it as well. But I like the mutant. I think it's very well done. Is it 100% screen accurate? Definitely not, but it is pretty darn close. As far as how it sits with the system, the way it's currently being put together, the mutant just quite literally just sits right on the seat. The screen gets covered quite a bit with the tentacles, but if you also look at the episode where Rose is talking with the Dalek, it has its tentacles kind of stretched up and over the screen. My suspicion is that when it's actually in there doing its thing, some of these tentacles are probably down under stuff or operating different controls on the screen, but it is how it is. So this once this chair gets modified, that may also allow for positioning the mutant and changing how it is positioned with the screen may change. So, very quick step. Instructions quite literally say to set it onto the seat and then take it off again and keep it safe. So I'm actually going to keep it in its box. So that it is out of harm's way, and it'll be a good place to store it. And once I have any painting done on it as well, this will be a great place to store it. So our next step, we have the first section of the back wall going behind the Dalek Mutant cockpit area. We have these two sort of half circle areas with these ribs on them, and then some piping coming down from those parts, plus our screws to be able to put everything together. Now, looking at the pictures of the actual prop Dalek, there seem to be 4 of these, and at least the 2 bottom ones in the middle are more of a cone shape than they are of this simple long rectangle cylinder shape. Without making an entirely new piece from scratch, there really isn't going to be a way to modify this to be a little more screen accurate. However, it can certainly get painted instead of being just the black on black that, you know, really gets lost in there. Looking at the some of the pictures here, it looks to be more of a gunmetal kind of gray. In one picture, at least, it almost has a little bit of a blue cast to it. So I want to get these painted before I start doing any of the assembly. As far as the hoses here, from best I can see as far as they are, there seems to be that these are more of just a straight up darker gray, still in the black, but the ribbing that's on here is a lot tighter, a lot smaller. The ribs on the one from the prop seem to be a little bit bigger. Not that big of a deal, honestly. Maybe a little bit of highlighting on them just to bring out the texture. So again, it doesn't just sort of get lost in the background. Now, as far as the background piece itself, the pictures, because of the size that the pictures are and where they've been taken, it's kind of hard to see exactly what the background color is. It is certainly not just a straight black. In one picture that I have, it seems to be a bit more of a gray, and another picture I have, there's almost a bit of a dark tan kind of color to it. Possibly beginning to sort of edge onto more of the bronzy kind of color, but without the shine of the bronze. So I haven't quite decided how I want to deal with this. I can't tell if the little bumps that are on here really are on the set, on the prop piece or not. But you know, it's the background piece. I don't think I'm going to be overly concerned with the fact that those little bumps and such are there. It would take quite a bit of effort to remove them if I decided that I wanted to remove them. But for now, I think I'm just going to leave it as is and make some decisions about the coloring a little later on. And I can always go back and paint it later. So for now, I think I'm going to leave this as is. These two, I'm going to get at least a coat of a gunmetal onto it. And these two, I think I may just do a little bit of some highlight work with a little bit of a gray. So let me take care of that, and I'll show you how that comes out. So these are my 2 gunmetal paints. On the left is the Model Masters gunmetal, and on the right is the Tamiya gunmetal. And as you can see, they are actually quite different in their color. The Monomasters does actually have a little bit more of a blue kind of color to it, whereas the Tamiya is definitely more of a black gray with the metallic sheen to it. So I'm going to give these both a try, see how they come out. So I decided to sponge the paint on. They're both still wet. They've only just gotten done. And as you can see, the Model Masters gunmetal definitely has a much darker, has a little bit of a blue color to it, whereas the uh, Tamiya definitely has that silver. Also, with using the sponge, I was able to get more of a modeling effect on each of them. I think what I might actually try to do here is once the paint has had a chance to dry, I'll get some air across it to help speed that up. But once the paint's had a chance to dry, I think I might actually just very, very lightly mix the two. I think I'm going to go with the Model Masters as a base, and then just do some very light highlighting with the Tamiya just to pick out a little bit of the silvery color in it. So I've completed the paintwork on these parts that are going to be in the back wall of the Dalek cockpit area. I used a combination of the gunmetal from Model Masters and from Tamiya, sponging that on just to give a random modeling effect. And then just to punch the blue a little bit more, I used the burnt blue weathering powder pigment from Tamiya, giving the overall more blue effect to it, which is very pronounced here on the screen, but in real life it's actually a lot more subdued, it's a very nice color that it has come out. So now it's time to go ahead and get these installed onto the back wall. So I've already attached the first hose, so the second one goes in place. Get that all lined up. Add the screw. And that is now both of those together and ready to be attached to the back wall. Now, for the back wall itself, I am not going to do any painting on it currently. I'm going to leave it as it is for now. Hopefully some other pictures can be found of the actual prop so I can get a better idea of what needs to be done. So this is now going to go into the base. The posts that are here are going to line up with the holes in the base. And that just locks directly in like that. Now this would certainly be a piece to not only put the screws in, but to also glue into place. However, I'm not going to glue it down at this time so that I can take it apart to be able to do any further work to it that I may need to do. So for now, I'm just going to go ahead and get that screwed down. And there's that first section of the back wall in place. So now these two parts need to be attached to the back wall. Posts are in place. That's just going to attach right onto the posts that are on the back wall. This might have actually been easier if we had been instructed to put them on first. So let's see here. So there's the first one. Go ahead and get the second one in. So now with the second cylinder and hose added in, that's the end of this particular step. Again, looking through pictures I have access to, this one is very clearly shown on the actual prop. I have not been able to find any pictures with this one. However, there are other things in this area, so it's very possible that I'm just not seeing it. But for now, I'm going to leave it as it is and be able to move on into the next step. So now on to step 21. These are the parts that come in this particular step. I have already gone ahead and painted these hoses. I chose to go ahead and use Tamiya copper paint, X number 6 or XF number 6, I believe it is. Again, just to be able to add in some color, I just did a very heavy brushing of it on so that clearly there are areas that are being missed, just to add a little bit of some assumed weathering added to it. Not that it should be out into the weather, of course, but as it would be worn and moved and whatever else might be happening inside that cockpit chamber. So these are going to be in the back, so they're not going to be as visible. Plus, there's going to be eventually other hoses that I know I'm going to add, whether they're going to be in the kit or not, will be added to that. The other part that comes in this particular step are these pieces here. And they are actually a press fit piece. I'm going to move this out of the way. And they go right here. Now, I first thought this was some of the parts, the mechanism that allows the armature for the front of the Dalek to open, but that doesn't seem to be the case. Looking at the actual prop, that would be more where this hole is located, if not possibly a little further back. I'm not entirely sure, but there definitely doesn't seem to be anything in this location. So I'm going to go ahead and assemble these, but I'm not going to press them in or glue them in until I can do a little bit more searching, trying to figure out exactly what these are and where they should be, if they should be. But simply, this centerpiece goes directly down onto the post down inside. That just presses down in. And then the cap has 4 holes in the bottom here. We've got the 4 posts on here. That lines up and presses in as well. Okay, so those are just press fit pieces. They certainly can be glued. Again, I need to do a little bit more searching and figuring out where this may end up going, if it actually exists on the actual prop. So where this would then go on the model here is going to line up with these 4 holes right in this location here. So I'll get the first one lined up, and then it would get press down into to fit there. Again, it could get glued in, but I'm not going to glue it down. I'm just going to leave it there loose for the moment until I can figure out exactly what it is and where it should be. Now, as for the hose pieces that I painted with the copper color, those are going to go back in these holes here. They are going to go directly into these holes back here. There are two different sizes to the holes, a larger one and a smaller one, so that they will fit in nice and tight. And so that's the end of step number 21. So this is the last step for the issue this month. These parts are, of course, already familiar because we've just created the opposite version of them. So again, we have this section here, these three pieces that'll go together. We have the two cylinders and their hose pieces that are going to go together. I've already done the painting on those to prep those and have those ready to go. I think I may have forgotten to mention that I did do some light dry brushing on the hoses just to pick out the ribs of the hose itself. So now it's just a matter of getting these parts put together. So this is where we end for this particular month as far as the build goes. I've just gone ahead and set the Dalek Mutant in so you can see how that will look when the final project is completed. There was a free gift this month, which was a mug, and that is here. I have not actually taken this out of its box yet, but as you can see, it is the TARDIS. Nice mug. So look for this in future. I may be using it. Thanks everybody for watching. Have yourselves a good month, and I will see you again next time for the next part of the Dalek build.